Welcome. I'll be talking about the Japanese model of corporate governance. First of all, a slight introduction about the Japanese model. The Japanese model is characterized by a high level of stock ownership by affiliated banks and companies. So the main key player according to the Japanese model of corporate governance is the banks and the companies. So Japanese model is one of the most important model of the corporate governance. It is mainly characterized by the banks and the companies itself. It follows a banking system that has a strong long-term links between the bank and the corporation. Then the next point is a legal public policy and industrial policy framework designed to support and promote keiretsu. Keiretsu is a cross-holding shareholder who does the cross-holding functions in a shareholder. The next point is the board of directors composed almost solely of insiders and comparatively low. This talks about the composition of the board of directors according to the Japanese model. The Japanese model always focus to compose their board with the insiders itself. The inside shareholders will be included in the board itself. As the board is constituting the insiders, they are always focusing. The Japanese corporation is always focusing on equity financing. Then the other point is insiders and their affiliates are the major shareholders in the Japanese corporations. We already talked that the insiders will be the major shareholders in the Japanese corporations. So the introduction can be summarized as what we are going to discuss in this seminar. We'll be discussing about the key players in the Japanese model of corporate governance, the interaction among the players, the board, the composition of the board of directors, and the shareholdings according to the Japanese model. We'll be discussing all this in this seminar. So we'll be going first. The first point is the key players in the Japanese model. The main players in the Japanese model is their bank, the main bank, the affiliated company or keiretsu. It's a shareholder. It's also a shareholder. The management and the government. So what all these key players does is the Japanese system is a corporate governance is many-sided around a main bank and a financial or industrial network or keiretsu. The main bank is the one who gives the loans, who already have a shareholdings in the company, and they also give the supervisory board with the managers, other services. They are the one who runs the corporate governance system in the Japanese corporations. The next point says what the banks does in the Japanese corporates. The bank provides its corporate client with loans as well as services related to bond issues, equity issues, settlement accounts, and related consulting services. The main bank is generally a major shareholder in the corporations. So the next is many Japanese corporations also have strong financial relationship with a network of affiliated companies. These network characterized by cross-holdings of debt and equity, trading of goods and services, and informal business contacts are known as keiretsu. The cross-holding of debt and equity, trading of goods and services, and informal business contacts are known as keiretsu. These activities are performed with the affiliated companies. They are also the shareholders. They are considered as insider shareholders in the company. The next player are the government. The government, according to the point states that they introduced an industrial policy according to the Japanese model. Since 1930s, the Japanese government has pursued an active industrial policy designed to assist the Japanese corporation. According to this policy, says that whenever a Japanese corporation faces financial difficulty, the policy gives them assistance. They give official or unofficial representation on corporate boards. They give assistance to the corporations. So this is all about the Japanese model. How the key players runs the corporates according to the Japanese model. This includes the main bank, the company, which includes the president, the executive management, the supervisory board, and also the main shareholders. So the next topic of discussion is interaction among players in the Japanese model. So the interaction among the key players in the Japanese model generally links and strengthens the relationship between the shareholders and the company. This is a fundamental characteristics of the Japanese model. A Japanese corporation prefer that a majority of its shareholders be long-term, preferably affiliated parties. In contrast, they don't focus on the outsider shareholders mainly. They always focus to give the rights to the insiders and or the affiliated parties of the shareholders, existing shareholders. Then the annual reports and materials related to the AGM are available to shareholders. Shareholders may attend the annual general meeting, vote by proxy or vote by mail. In theory, the system is simple. However, the mechanical system of voting is more complicated for non-Japanese shareholders. This talks about the problems that the non-Japanese shareholders faces according to the Japanese model. This can be seen in the later points. I'll be discussing that. The next point states annual general meetings are almost always pro forma, and corporations actively discourage shareholders' dissent. Shareholder activism is restricted by an informal yet important aspect of the Japanese system. The next point states how the non-Japanese investors faces problems during the voting period and all the annual general meetings. This says that the Japanese corporations always hold their annual general meetings on a same day every year. This will give a difficulty for the institutional investors to corporate voting, and impossible to attend more than one meeting. So if there is another meeting happening in the same date, then it will not give the institutional investors to attend the Japanese corporations meetings. So this acts as a one problem. Otherwise, this system is simple. That's what the theory says. So this is the share ownership pattern. The financial institutions and mainly the bank are the one who hold majority of the shares in a Japanese corporation. The insurance companies or the banks togetherly constitute almost 43% of the shares in a Japanese corporation. Then the corporations have 25%, and the foreign institutional investors or any other person can be, almost have 3%. They can get up to 3% of the shares. So this is of the composition of the board of directors in the Japanese model. The board of directors of the Japanese corporation is composed almost completely of insiders. We already discussed that the board always focus on constituting with the insiders itself in the board. The common practice of making the board is, if a company profits fall over an extended period, the main bank and members of the keiretsu may remove directors and appoint their own candidates to the company's board. If the company's the financial performance is not going great, then the bank itself appoint their own persons, their own individuals to the company's board. This is one practice. Then the another practice common in Japan is the appointment of retiring government bureaucrats to the corporate boards. For example, the Ministry of Finance may appoint a retiring official to the bank's board. This is another practice. In the Japanese model of composition of the composition of the board of directors is conditional upon the corporate's financial performance. So the main indicator of that helps to appoint the board relies on the financial performance of the corporate. Then the next point says the average Japanese board contains 50 members. The average members that a Japanese board can contain is 50 members. So that's all about the Japanese model of corporate governance. Thank you so much.